So now what they're doing is they're coming to a central location, in this case, Realty Mogul, because Realty Mogul is a source of information and access to operators, kind of in the same way as a fund manager was, but with a different function. So explain how that is different.
Yeah, so the difference is that the institutional investors, or actually individual investors too. I happen to use this presentation for a group of Japanese institutional investors. So
Did you do it in Japanese?
What's that?
Did you do it in Japanese?
No, I did not.
Next time, ask me along and I'll do it in Japanese.
I did it in Japan, but I presented in English.
Okay.
So it allows the investors to invest directly into the sponsor's entity. They're not actually investing in Realty Mogul, they're investing with the operator. So, that doesn't work for all operators. Clearly you've got to be institutional quality to be, prepared to do that. The one buffer that Realty Mogul does provide is in instances where we are, a majority, we will aggregate the, some of the decision-making authority of our investor, of the investors going through the Realty Mogul platform. And they're not our investors, they're the sponsor's investors. I just want to make that clear. But for example, if we may have certain trigger rights in the same way that a closed-end fund manager would. For example, if the operator said, we expect that we're going to have a three-year hold program on this investment, there might be a trigger in the operating agreement that allows Realty Mogul, or I should say RM admin manager, that entity to trigger a sale or force a sale of the asset. So I'm probably going too deep right now.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's interesting, and it is important that you do retain rights.
But not all platforms do that, and we would only do that if we have a majority interest. And that's something that I think is not well understood in the crowdfunding world. So maybe that's a topic for another podcast.
No, that is interesting. It's very important. I do have a slightly separate question, but let's just kind of underscore that point. The point is that by investing, so this the first slide that we've got, institutional investors invest in Realty Mogul. In fact, I'm not quite sure. Invest through Realty Mogul with operators, but that's only if Realty Mogul also invests. Is that correct? With the operator?
Realty Mogul does not. We may be a co-issuer, but we do not invest. All the investors invest directly with. Well, let me back up for a second, because we do also have a REIT, and there are times when the REIT will co-invest with the individual investors. So thank you for clarifying that.
But when you draw money into these you negotiate terms that individual investors wouldn't be able to negotiate themselves, because you are bringing so much capital. So the operator is going to be more inclined to agree to certain terms that trigger terms that individual investors wouldn't be able to get. But here's my question. I went back to the fund manager question. One of the big advantages to an institutional investor of going to a fund manager is they don't have to do all the work to figure out who are the great operators, right? They don't have to do the due diligence. They only need to do due diligence on one entity. That is the fund manager. They're confident in the fund manager. They know the fund manager is going to do their homework. That's part of what the fund manager gets paid for. So in the same way, to what extent can institutional investors coming to Realty Mogul or looking at operators through Realty Mogul benefit from Realty Mogul? What extra value do you bring in the same way? Do you vet sponsors? Do you underwrite them? Do you underwrite the deal? what is it that institutions see in coming to you that makes it useful for them and help?
Well, I mean, quite honestly, that was the other thing that impressed me when I joined Realty Mogul. The underwriting process is really not that different from what I was used to at Rockwood. I mean, very rigorous, zero-based analysis of the sponsor model, third-part review of all third-party documents, property tours, legal diligence, background checks, really institutional quality review.
That's really interesting. And that's very, very important. So when institute, because I really want to get to this last slide, I don't want to run out of time. But when institutional sponsors come to you, they know that you are conducting, this is really the distinguishing difference between institutional quality real estate and non-institutional. Is not the real estate. I mean, there are some aspects to it. It's got to be scale, certain criteria, et cetera, et cetera. The key is the due diligence that's gone in to underwriting and understanding if this deal passes muster. That's the key difference. See, so many people, don't you, Chris, these days, oh yeah, we've got institutional quality deals. No, you don't. They can't make that claim. Might be big, but it's not underwritten in the same way as an institutional quality deal. That's the differentiating characteristic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Sure.